He couldn't say exactly when it hit, familiar and dreary as a cigarette butt ground out and cold scrambled eggs, the toothpaste smears on a washdown glass, while you were on the cops, day like another, just feeling a little worse than usual, which is not unusual at all. Well, an ugly thing broke out that day in the precinct. This rookie cop had worked a drunk over, and the young cop had a mad look in his eyes, and he kept screaming, "Let me finish the bastard off! He's passed out on some kind of dope, I tell you." I've seen that look before, and I know what it means. Cop crazy. When it hits, they'll rush out, search, sap, arrest anyone in sight. We try to cover for them. Son, if the cop madness come on you, just find an old drunken bum as quick as you can and let yourself go. Well, it turned out the rookie had picked the wrong drunk. He was a big ad exec on a spree. Such a stink goes up, we toss the crazy kid to the wolves and he draws a stretch and some con beats his brain out in a stir. We can cover for individual cases or write them off, but next day is worse. The madness would seize whole precincts for a few minutes, during which anyone in the tank is beaten to a bloody pulp. Then the madness drains out and their strength goes with it. Double whiskey, Martin. You're a cop kinda early, aren't you, Clancy? Now that Clancy gulped his whiskey and wiped his mouth with a shaky hand. I don't know, Martin, something is happening to me. Maybe I'm going nuts just to do anything, Martin. Like get up, shave, and dress well. It hurts, see? I tell myself, Clancy, any more from your sap? What's all the fuss? Everyone does these things every day. Been doing it for years. So who am I to start complaining? But strength sags from the work I'm doing. No blood left in me to sap a sick junkie. It takes everything I've got to make it to the bus stop. And one thought in my mind, please God, let there be a seat, a warm leather seat by the window. And when I get to the corner by the precinct and have to lug myself out of the bus. Covered you like the white stuff, Clancy. Eh? What's that? Give me another, Martin. Martin fills the cop's glass. He leans his grey junky forearms on the bar. He doesn't care if Clancy sees the needle marks. He doesn't mind shaving and dressing. He speaks calmly. Yes, it's hitting all of you. Can't find a taxi in the street, or so many they chase a fare up the sidewalk and jerk him in. That's another way it hits people. Go crazy to do something. Can't just sit here moping. Gotta do something. I can see it's coming on now, Clancy. Yeah, you're a cop and you gotta do something. No, that gun won't do you a bit of good. Better put it away. You don't believe in that gun anymore, Clancy. You don't believe in that badge neither, nor the work you're doing. What kept you doing it, Clancy? It was the feeling you were on set, knowing you had a part in the film, and the film covered you just like the white stuff covers a junkie. You don't mind shaving and dressing. And you didn't mind doing these things so long as the film covered you, while you were on the cops. Well, the film isn't there anymore, Clancy. The spring is gone from your sap. Strength sags from your good right arm, cold and wooden your fingers. And what has happened to your pigeons, Clancy? You used to be quite a pigeon fancier. Remember the feeling you got, sucking arrests from your pigeons, soft and evil, like the face of your whiskey priest brother? Where are your pigeons gone to, Clancy? Where are their junk-rotten souls? Rags and tatters of old film. Sure, Clancy, we remember the men you sent up, came around later to thank you, and the watch the chief gave you when you cracked the Norton case. Time to turn in your cop suit to the little Jew who'll check it off in his books. Won't be needing you after Friday. Pick up your check at the gate. It was the film held you together, Clancy. You were the film. All the old cop films, eating his apple, twirling his club. The sky goes out against his back. Unpaid bills, unanswered letters, each simple task an agony to perform, every day a little worse. The worse it got, the less was happening, as the structure quietly foundered. Whole apartment blocks phone in to say they won't be coming to the office that day, and nobody is there to take the calls. The writer flinches from his typewriter. The cop turns sick with the sight of his badge. Tools fall from slack hands. Plows gather dust in ruined barns. Fanatical sects spring up, wrecking whole districts in whirlwind riots. A few minutes later, the rioters sit in the wreckage, stirring blood with a stick, staring into space with dead, hopeless eyes. Last twitches of the dying West. A little fat man was standing by my desk. I know you. You're the little fat man who gives the explanations in science fiction stories. Yes, that's me, Bill. Guess you could write my lines for me, most of them. You want out of present time, do you? Well, it's tougher than you thought, a whole lot tougher. Time hits the hardest blows. Well, I can give you a few hints, no more than that, mind you. And that's against the rule. Oh yes, we have rules. As soon as you work for any organization, you have rules. And it's a rule that anyone working for any organization cannot be allowed to know the reason for the rules, not the real reason. Present time. Right now. Agony to be just here, isn't it? Well, to begin with, let's take a look at people who don't mind being in present time. Indians in South America setting fish traps, hunting, cooking, making canoes. Well, I could go on, but you get the picture. Every object has its place. Not many objects you see these so-called backwards people are on set. Present time is a film, and if you are on set in present time, you don't feel present time, because you are in it. Well, no use trying to duplicate a set like that in a city, of course. You can approximate it in your apartment, weed out all the objects not on set, but even if you get your apartment on set where no objects jumps out and kicks you in the stomach, sooner or later the objects move back into random positions, and there is still all outdoors to contend with. You trail it back in with you. All those words and sounds and images have nothing to do with you. Alright, let's look at someone else who can make it out in present time. A man having breakfast in bed reading letters. He dictates into a dictaphone. See what I mean? He is rich. He can buy padding. Someone else will type the letters he is dictating and pay the bills and see that the heating works. He can buy exemption from present time, or at least he could until the film jammed. Now here is someone else who doesn't mind being where he is. Martin there, cooking up the white stuff, grey shadows on a distant wall. So what is the film made of? Junk. The more you use, the more you need. And where does that end? Where would it have ended if we hadn't decided to end it right here in these United States of America? He gets up and paces the room. What after all is your God? Seen from a galactic standpoint, a little tribal chieftain, weak, corrupt, a drug addict, sold out his people just like that. Yes, there is some ground for the provincial egotism of Earth peoples. The planet is remarkable in many ways. The more or less equitable temperatures, vegetation, water. This can be very important to planets where there is not water, like Mars, for instance. Minerals, oxygen, animal food. To put it country simple, Earth has a lot of things other folks might want, like the whole planet. And maybe these folks would like a few changes made, like more carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, and room for their way of life. We've seen this happen before, right in these United States. Your way of life destroyed the Indians' way of life. Gave them reservations, didn't you? Now my own position is ticklish. I'm with the invaders, no use trying to hide that, and at the same time I disagree with some of the things some of them are doing. Oh, we're not united any more than you are. The conservative faction is set on nuclear war as a solution to the personnel problem. Others disagree. Now I don't claim that my motives are 100% humane, but I do say if we can't think up anything quieter and tidier than that, we aren't all that much better than you Earth apes. How many of you people can live without film coverage? How many of you can forget you were ever a cop, a priest, a writer, leave everything you ever thought and did and said behind, and walk right out of the film? There is no place else to go. The theater is closed.